Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and we're going to talk about book journals today. I, for this year, have 2 book journals. This one is more like a tracker where I'm keeping up with the kind of goals that I have for the year and where I am in those. And this one is where I'm keeping up with just every book that I read. So I'm going to flip through and show you where we are right now and how I'm doing this. So I print out all of the books that I read. This, by the way, is by Anne Bogle. She has a podcast and a website. Her website is Modern Mrs. Darcy, and her podcast is What Should I Read Next? And she just came out with this reading journal for this year, and it has tons of lists inside it. Like, let me just find a couple. Well, first of all, it has a habit tracker thing in the front. We're not reading through all these. So it has a historical fiction list, mystery, love stories, fantasy sci-fi, children's books for grown-ups, biography, narrative nonfiction, and then it has like winter list, spring, summer, and fall. It has all that kind of stuff. And then randomly throughout the book, it has other things thrown in. Let's see if I can find. So it just has like this page which discusses reading goals and maybe like how to set up reading goals. So it kind of has something for everyone. It has this section at the front that is about to be read list. And since I have way too many books to fit in this book, in this one thing, I decided not to use this at all since I use my story graph. So anyway, this is how I'm filling this out. So I just put the title, the author, the genre, the length, the publisher, the year it was published, and I'm putting the year that it was first published. So some of them have been republished, but I'm trying to do the first year that it was published. And then it has themes, and so I try to come up with some themes. Sometimes I can't, but it has a rating over here, when I started and when I finished, and whether it was fiction or nonfiction. And then it says how I discovered this book, and I'm putting where I heard of it or why I'm reading it. I was tracking this before in this journal last year, and so it's the same kind of stuff that I'm keeping up with. So what I'm doing though is I'm putting the covers down here, which is funny because I wrote wrong photo on this, because this is the cover that I printed when I thought I was reading Blood of Elves first, and I read The Last Wish. So I do need to go back and change this photo, but I think what I'm going to do is probably print out The Last Wish and just put it here beside it, because then I have it. I have them both, and you can see that I did the wrong one. I think that would be funny. So that's all I do in this book, and I have filled it out so far. I think I'm 14 books in. Now here's what I've done with my NPR books. They don't have a picture in here because the picture is going in here. So that's what we're going to do today, is go through this book and just update all the ones that I've read and what needs to be added to this book officially. So we start here on this page, and if you didn't see me set this up, I will link that up above. But I have already printed out a couple of them. I still need to print out a couple more. All right, so I have kind of, I don't know if you can see it or not, but with a pencil, I have put the year in there for each one of these NPR books. And then I'm just gonna put this cover over the top of that. So I don't have 2014 printed out, and I don't have 2017 printed out. But this one is 2016, so it's going to go there. I left too much. These white books, when the covers of them are white, they're hard for me to tell where they stop and where the paper starts. And then the Red Web was my 2015 eye-opening read. Back in December, I read the super graphic book. And so I just carried that over and put that in here because that was my first eye-opening read. So I'm just going to glue those down. Well, I guess I'm going to tape them down. I just have this refillable permanent adhesive. It's a Tombow Mono, but the problem that I keep running into is that it keeps getting twisted inside it. And I'm not doing anything to it. But I started to think maybe I was going too fast, and that was messing it up. So I started trying to go slower when I was putting the glue down or the sticky stuff down. So I don't know, but it's too expensive to break like it does so quickly. Like, this is already my third refill, and I've only actually finished using one roll so far. The other two just got like all messed up and wouldn't work. So that's it for now until I get these two printed out, and my printer is out of ink, so I can't do that today, but I will probably pop a picture up, or I'll definitely put a picture on my Instagram when I get those filled in. I'm not on any of the rest of these yet. These are all other NPR books. And then that brings me to here. Okay, so before this month, I had read 22 of the fantasy books, and I read 3 more. So I'm going to get the next 3 colored markers and color those in. Okay, and that's all I do to update for this one. And then we have the Rob a week, 1 Rob a week. And I tried to go through and mark, like you probably can't see this, but I put a tiny pencil mark next to the ones that I had finished so that I could go back and highlight them. And I was trying to follow this color pattern that I had down the middle, but you can see I used green twice. It's fine, it doesn't really matter. But the next one, it looks like it should be yellow. So what do I have to to read? I have finished Loyalty. Okay, so those are the ones that I have finished since the last time I did this. And so next time I check back in, I will mark off the other ones that I've read until I get caught up and they're all marked off. These are all the books so far out in the series, and every time she puts another one out, I will write it in here. Then we have our Journey to the Dark Tower, and I have not finished anything since I updated this. And I just went ahead and wrote in Needful Things. That was the last thing that I finished. I am currently reading Insomnia, so that one will be added in next, and then I'll go down to the next book. So that's how many I have finished to get to the end of my Dark Tower series. Then we go to Tamara Pierce, and I have finished 2 more books. And I wrote one in here in pencil again because I wanted to wait until I was doing this to officially write it in here. And then I wrote the next book. So that comes after this. So I read Page and I read Squire. And so both of those are now in here. I have one more book that I'm working on for this month, but that'll just go in there for next month. So then we have Stephen Graham Jones. I finished Mongrels and Memorial Ride, and so both of those will be written on here. I'm not worried a ton about the fact that I used the same pen to write all of these, and now I've used a different pen to write those. That doesn't matter so much to me. And then we're at the last page, the TBR Changes book. I wrote down tentatively how many books I had on my want to read list here. And then at the end of January, which we're not quite to the 31st, but when we get there, I'll write that number here, how many I had. I'm assuming this number is going to get bigger. I'm not tracking this to watch the number go down because I am constantly adding books to my want to read list on Storygraph, and so my goal is not to be finished at the end. My goal is to just track and see how many I add each month. Then down here, I did this for monthly themes because I thought if things pop up, I want to put this here, and this is where I've put, and I don't even know the name of it. I'll put it down in the description, but I can't remember anything about it right now, except that I went through and wrote down all the prompts for the whole year. And the first one in January was who, what, when, where, why, or how. It's not written all of those on the prompt, but it is in the video where she talks about them. And then February is a pronoun in the title. And so it just goes through each one of the months, has a different kind of prompt or theme that you're trying to do. And so if I do those, I will mark it off or something to just keep track of that. And any other themes that come up through the year, that's where I'm putting them. And that's it. I don't have anything else in here. I have updated everything for this journal so far. And I have 3 books left for eye-opening reads. So I'm going to finish that out. Probably in February I should finish that. And then we'll move over to Tales from Around the World. I am very excited to get going on this page. Thank you for joining me. If you have a reading journal, I would like to know how you're tracking your stuff. Are you doing two different things like I am, where I just track basic information in one book, but then more like creative things in another book? Are you just doing a tracker like this with your goals in it and not necessarily like tracking every single thing you read? How do you do tracking? I just want to know. I'm very interested in all the different ways that people do it. So that's going to be it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.